This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, it is November 9th, 2020, and we are holding the regular meeting of the Dayton Utility Service Board. We're holding this meeting by phone because of the COVID-19 pandemic and in compliance with the governor's executive orders. This meeting is open for the public to listen in real time and via recording afterward, and an option has been provided for residents to speak during the meeting on agenda items. Present on the phone line, we have our attorney, Reed Murtaugh, town manager, Mark Harlow, clerk treasurer, Michelle Freeward, and Scott Taylor. Town marshal is here. And all 5 members of the town council who will now identify themselves. Ron Kohler.
Here.
Dan Kiger.
Here.
Carla Snodgrass.
Here.
Ashley Stevenson.
Here.
And I'm Jen Monego, so all 5 council members are present. First up is the claims docket dated November 9th, 2020. We do have an ordinance that requires documents needed for our internal controls to be uploaded for the council to be able to access. Per that ordinance, this needs to be done 5 days before the second Monday of the month because the law says that we may not approve claims given to us less than 5 days before our meeting. On Friday, Michelle offered to leave invoices and APVs out over the weekend for council members to go look at. Unfortunately, this violates the 5-day rule and our town ordinance. We've asked Michelle to work with us for the past 11 months so we could approve the claims appropriately and on time. Every month has been a battle. At first, we could look at them during the meeting. Then she insisted we go to her office. She once offered to make copies if we agreed not to upgrade our security system with more cameras. Eventually, she agreed to let us make our own copies, but her hoops still had to be jumped through. Ron and Stan had to be there on her time frame and were belittled and abused while they were there. After almost a year of being refused the documents we needed in a timely and appropriate manner, our hand was forced and the internal control ordinance was updated. I've been asked, what did the councils do before this one? The answer, as far as I can tell, is nothing. There were no internal controls followed, and the disaster Michelle walked into when she took office is testament enough to why they are necessary. So once again, we will not be approving the claims dated November 9th, 2020, and the claims from October are also left unapproved. Next, for the minutes, Michelle has given us 22 meeting minutes that we've been missing from January 2020 to now. We will not be approving these at this meeting. Given the sheer amount of them that have been piled on us at once, we're going to need some time to go through them and make any corrections. We'll hopefully be able to get these approved in a special meeting in a couple weeks. Michelle, thank you for getting all those to us. Okay, the adjustment report. Michelle, will you explain that, and then we can ask any questions if we still have them?
Hold on, let me get over to it. So the only thing on the adjustment report is an adjustment for an outside leak, applied deposits to final bill, error in check amount that we found. So that had to be adjusted on their account. Meter reading didn't transfer over correctly to a new resident. A credit for the outdoor watering, that we have that watering ordinance, and then applied deposit to final bill, and payment wasn't applied on 8/8, but deposit was. Again, this was on that one when Tammy was here, when she was putting in bills, when we get like the banks or the checks from like say like First Merchants, or I can't even think of like bank. We'll get like an envelope of them, and apparently they must have stuck together. So when Tammy put deposit in, that check was in the deposit, but it wasn't applied to that person's account. So we had the bank pull and scan us all of those checks, and then we were able to find out which check it was and get applied. So that's why you see that on for the 21. And that is it.
Okay.
Jen, I got a question.
Yep.
Michelle, when we give a credit for watering in the summer, how do we determine that?
Well, it was you guys were supposed to create something so that we could get it into Keystone. We did a thing last year where we agreed it was the months of the summer that it would go back to what like their normal average was. So again, they pay for the water, but they get a credit on their sewage. So it's kind of like no different than an outdoor water leak or a leak that doesn't go down a drain. They still have to pay for the water, but they get a credit on the sewage
Okay.
because of
Thank
the
you.
watering thing.
All right. Thank you.
So, I mean, we can put it in the system to where the system will automatically do it for us, but Keystone has to have like a resolution or an updated physical ordinance to be able to make those changes in the system. So right now, it's just manually when people come to me and ask for it. It's the same with the pool credits. I have to manually do it.
Well, what I mean is we used to hook a meter on there when they did outdoor watering, but now they just, what have they, so you're just taking the increase and presuming it's outdoor watering in the summertime, right?
Well, if they come to me and say that they've done excess water, or there are people who do pool fills, and if the water meter is out, and some people will have the water meter for 2 weeks, but those people want to fill their pool, they'll tell me their pool capacity is. So then I will take what that pool capacity is when their bill actually uploads to see if that was used, and then subtract that from what their regular usage would have been, and they would have got a credit for whatever that extra usage was for the waste, but not for the water.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone else
Something we
have any other questions?
Yes, we need to look at getting something to Keystone, getting the ordinance passed so that people can water their yards without fear and, have it be more of an automated system. I suspect with this new housing development, as they start building and getting lawns established and stuff like that, I think there'll be irrigation systems at a lot of those houses out there. We need to maybe be proactive and, that's, maybe do something along the lines of what Lafayette, West Lafayette does.
What do they do, Ashley?
My understanding is they have credits in their software system that will deduct the sewer amounts during summertime months. Basically, I don't know if it's 9 months out of the year or 7 months out of the year, and it'll correct water bills. Hard to do when somebody first moves into a house, but you can imagine if the house has been established for several years, and every month the water usage is at a minimum or something like that, but in the summertime you see higher water bills, and that house has irrigation or something like that, why that water usage is happening, and therefore the bills get adjusted through their software system.
Gotcha.
So Jen, from my understanding, how it works, like how they do the estimation, so like the council would declare what 3 months of the winter is. So if you guys want to say October, November, December, or November, December, January, those are the 3 months that take the accumulated, or what the average use would be, because you don't typically do water and all of that, or use excess amount of waters. And then the council would dictate what are the 3 summer months. So if you want May, June, and July, or June, July, and August, those months would be the set months that anything that they go over of what is the calculated winter, anything that they go over during those 3 months, and the system would automatically give them a sewage credit of what their average is compared to those 2 sets of months.
I see.
And Jen, I have a draft of the ordinance from the city of Lafayette.
Oh,
We've talked about this. The last time it came up, I believe the council said that they wanted to wait until the rate study was completed. But if you guys want to go forward with the ordinance, I've already started the work.
I remember talking about the what's the word, like the snowbirds or whatever. But I guess I don't recall this watering issue.
I'll have to go back and look at the minutes because I'm almost positive that they said that we could start it, but then I'll go back and check the minutes from last year.
Oh.
But it's
Okay.
ultimately it's something that was talked about last year.
And do you know, Michelle, if Keystone has that capability or whatever?
Yes, it's just they're not allowed to do any kind of rate change or anything like that without like an official ordinance or resolution from the council before they can go in and do it. So like if we were to change rates, it would be the same thing. You guys would have to do a new ordinance. We have to submit it to Keystone so that they can go internally and fix it.
Yeah, gotcha.
We can't just call them and tell them.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jen, it's special provision for residential billing in suburb months. So like they have June, July, August, and September.
Why don't we wait for the Steve Brock thing since it's in the fall now anyway, and then we can look at Lafayette's and go from there.
Michelle or maybe Ron or Ashley, I don't know. Does anybody know where Steve Brock is on that?
No, when I gave him all the documents, he said that he knew you guys wanted it ASAP, and he said he was going to have it, but I've not heard from him since.
Okay. So maybe we'll just hold off.
Just FYI,
It should be done fairly soon. So
just FYI on our current ordinance, you can only ask for a watering credit one time a year. So the credit that I'm asking for on this claim, that's actually over a 3-month time period.
Yeah. And so, like, if you had a pool, you couldn't also ask for your pool, right?
Well, if you had a pool and you're watering grass, you'd probably wait until the end of the year and ask for the credit one time.
Yeah.
By ordinance, that's all you're allowed to do.
Yeah. Okay.
I found the minutes. It was from August 12th of 2019. I brought it up, and it says Ashley Stevens said that he agrees that we need to look into doing a summer sprinkler. Michelle has talked with Steve Brock, City of Lafayette, and Murtaugh to gather the information regarding being able to do the summer sprinkler credit. Tyler Taylor made a motion for Michelle and Reed to work together to get the new sprinkler credit ordinance in motion. Henry second the motion, carried, voice vote 5-0.
Right, but we never.
So it was set in motion. It's just not right. But I mean,
the last we heard from Steve Brock was we're losing money on water and wastewater the last 2 years. So we probably ought to listen to him and wait for him and then see where we stand on all this.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's winter, or unthankfully if you don't like winter.
Yeah.
But we have time, so something to keep in mind, though. Okay, does anyone have any other discussion about the adjustment report? Okay, I make a motion to approve the utility adjustment report dated 10/1/2020 to 10/31/2020.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We're going to vote by roll call. Stan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Ashley?
I have an item on this adjustment report, so I am not going to vote. I'll excuse myself from the vote.
Okay, and I vote yes, so the motion passes 4-0 with one abstaining. Okay, next is...
It's not an abstention.
Okay. Reed, you're up next.
I don't have anything for the utility board meeting.
Okay. New and old business. Like I said earlier, we're going to have a special meeting in a couple weeks. We'll hopefully have the minutes from this year ready to approve. And we're also going to be discussing the best way to split the clerk's office and the utility office. So that meeting will happen in a couple of weeks. Utility report. Mark?
Hey, Jen, real quick, do you mind if I jump in real quick, Mark?
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I didn't put anything for the clerk treasurer report on here because I didn't have anything. But since we're utilities, something has been brought to my attention, and in March, I was the one who did make the decision, but now the council has decided to be doing the decisions. I just wanted to bring to your guys' attention that TSC is shutting down, and I've been told that the county buildings are going to start shutting down and limiting people because of the outbreak. So I didn't know you guys had saw that or thought about. Do you still want me to keep the town hall open to the public? Do you want to go back to no in person? If it's something you want to think about, but since you guys wanted to make that decision, I was just bringing it up to you so you guys can make that call about how you want me to handle that since places are starting to shut down.
Is this outbreak?
Okay, I had not heard that.
I had heard that, but is this outbreak worse or better than in the springtime when we were open?
I'm not sure. I just know that the schools are shutting down until after Thanksgiving, and my building is closing down for 2 hours, I think at like noon for cleaning, and they're not letting people go to other parts of the county building. Again, we have the shield here, so it's not like I have physical contact really with people anyways. But I was just putting that in your guys' attention if you need to make that call.
I don't really have an opinion on the matter right now. I didn't realize everything was shutting down again. That's unfortunate.
I guess it's starting to. Again, if you know, you guys can think about it, but I just wanted to put it on the table about to see if you guys had any ideas.
Maybe we can let it go for now since we're having a meeting in a couple of weeks. And then
that's fine.
We need to meet before then or whatever.
Yep, that's fine. Sorry, Mark.
That's all right. We all received through email a copy of my report. The first item we have under water is the state required annual back inspection. That was completed on October 9th, and our backflow device passed the inspection, so we're good on that for another year. Wastewater, the previously approved lift station maintenance was completed on October 21st, and no problems were found. We'll move on to streets. Hopefully, you all received the information concerning our list of streets as well as the Excel sheet that was attachment to it. And I guess now would be the time for any comment concerning that list.
Do we need to read
No,
the list for the people out there listening, or do we not?
I can. Yeah, that'd be fine if you'd like for me to.
Well, then everybody would know what streets we're talking about.
Okay. So, 10 streets. Dayton Road South from Shady Lane to Wesleyan will be milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of new asphalt. Shady Lane from the T intersection to the cul-de-sac will also be milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of asphalt.
Hello?
Yes. Dayton Road North from Main Street to the entrance to Buck Creek Pizza, that would get milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of asphalt. Dayton Road South from the railroad to Shady Lane would be milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of asphalt. Dayton Road South from Wesleyan Drive to the old corporate limit, which is where the town sign is, would get milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of asphalt, as well as the installation of a new sidewalk on the east side of Dayton Road from Wesleyan Drive to the old corporate limit, which is where the mine is presently. Ohio Street, from the alley to Jefferson Street would be milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of asphalt. Republican Street from Main Street to the north to the dead end would get milled and resurfaced. South Street from Dayton Road to Ricks Drive would be milled and resurfaced with 2 inches of asphalt. South Street from Conjunction to Pennsylvania would be milled and resurfaced. Yost Drive South, so that's heading towards Dollar General and Circle K. So from State Road 38 to that T, it would get milled and resurfaced. In addition to this, although it would not be cost shared by NDOT, we are proposing putting in all new driveway approaches on Cagle's Mill. Additionally, would be the construction of a cul-de-sac at the north end of Shady Lane, where that dead ends there. I think that's it. So we got 10 streets, about 18 driveway approaches, and a new cul-de-sac. And that's what we were initially proposing for this 2021 NDOT Community Crossing Grant.
Mark, how much do all these add up to? Do you know that yet, roughly?
My rough estimate is $195,000. Now, like I said, the driveway approaches on Cagle's Mill won't get cost shared, so that $20,000 would be out of the town's pocket, but the remaining $175,000 would hopefully be cost shared at a 75-25 rate, with the state paying the 75%.
Okay. Is
Now,
there
that does not, I don't, go ahead.
is one last question so everybody can be thinking about it. I think last year, some of these years we asked for over $200,000 and stuff. Is there a limit on what we can ask for if we wanted?
No, you can ask for up to $1 million.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that gives us an
Now,
idea.
something I don't have a cost estimate for in this number is the sidewalk going out to the south. So that would be added, but that would get cost shared at a 75-25 rate also. So hopefully I didn't go through those too quickly for anyone listening. So do we have any questions?
I do, Mark. This is Jen.
Yes.
Is there any reason I couldn't, I guess, put this list on the website so people can see it? See a problem with that?
I think I would wait until we have I think what we want to do next is get a more accurate cost estimate. And once we have that and we're locked in exactly what we're going to do, I think then it would be helpful to have it on the website. Right now, we're just kind of having through what we're proposing and ideas and so forth.
I just mean
so I think it'd be a little bit premature.
I don't mean the list that you just said, like with the costs and stuff. I just mean this entire PACER rating system list, like just for, for people to see. Is that what you're talking about, waiting on?
No, that PACER rating, it won't change until 2021. So you're talking about the Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah.
I guess I really thought about that. I guess that would be, I don't mind, but it would be up to the board if we want that information public or not.
Does anyone have an issue with this going on the website?
No, that's fine.
Mark, I did have one more question. Did you say?
Sure.
Did you say Hine Drive?
No, but in my notes that I sent to you, I put down that although Hine Drive was one of the streets with one of the lower ratings, we're going to skip over it for this application because the Truck Indiana development will be going on out there, and we hate to repave a street whenever there's construction going on adjacent to it.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. I thought it was good. I just wanted to double check. Okay.
Sure. Okay. So I guess our next step is, like I mentioned, is to get a more accurate price estimate on this. And I don't think we want to go as far deep into it right now as far as having engineering done. But I think that I guess I got ahead of myself. What I would like to do next is get permission to have BF&S be our engineering firm for this community crossings under our general services agreement, just for simplicity. I don't know that I need a vote on that, but I would like consensus that we move forward with BF&S on this application.
I think that's good, Mark. We can trust BF&S, and they've done a lot of work for us. So if we need a motion, I'll make a motion to have BF&S move forward with this under our current
I would go
contract.
ahead and do a motion.
Do what?
I would go ahead and do a motion.
I'll second it.
So just for clarity.
Yep.
So for clarity, the motion is to have BF&S provide engineering services for our 2021 Community Crossing Grant under the existing General Services Agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. There's been a motion made by Ron and seconded by Carla to have BF&S provide engineering services for the Community Crossing Grant under our existing agreement. Is there any further discussion before we take a roll call vote?
I would like to have more discussion on the roads that we're doing and stuff. I don't know if that's appropriate right now, or if you want to go ahead and finish with this vote.
I'd like to talk about a couple of things too. So if Ashley wants to ask, we can.
Well, I mean,
okay, that's fine.
We go vote for BF&S, and then if it's all right to revisit and have more discussion about the projects themselves.
Sure, we'll tie up this motion. Okay, Ron, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes, so the motion carries 5-0. Okay, Ashley?
So when we're doing these projects, when you're paving, typically depends on traffic and such, but it's going to be probably 20 to 30 years before you have to repave that road again. Right now, we have the 75-25% match. So I think we ought to incorporate as much into these roads as we can in the way of sidewalks and stormwater drainage. And, I look at this list and for instance, number 3, Dayton Road North, and between Main Street and the entrance to Buck Creek, that would be a great road or a great area to redo a sidewalk and also to redo some stormwater catch basins at the junction of Main Street and Dayton Road. Now look on down the list, Republican Street, South Street, some of these other ones, they also should have sidewalks and we should be looking at stormwater drainage if there's an opportunity to help the stormwater drains. And that's basically my comment. Everybody's, we all know the complaint about sidewalks in this town. And when you got the state of Indiana paying 75% of stormwater and sidewalks, be sure to get that stuff in there, even if it means scaling back, maybe not doing all 10, but maybe do 8 of the roads or whatever, however money allows. And I think when you have the opportunity to work on sidewalks and stormwater and get the state of Indiana to pay 75% of it, it behooves us not to take them up on that. That's my only comment.
Ashley, can I say something, Mark, or do you want to answer that question?
No, I'm just listening.
Well, Stan and I met with Mark and we went over these streets, and everybody understands this. I guess it's called the Pazer report that the engineers do every couple years to rate these streets. First importance is we're going and we're following the rating this year. We're not skipping around and doing favorite streets or our own streets or whatever. These are the worst streets first, and we're going right down that list. In fact, every one of these streets should have been done before a couple that was controversial last year. But in this talk, when we're talking, some streets like South Street, in some areas, we don't feel need sidewalks. We can do more talking about them. They're not high areas, and we could spread our money and do more streets. Other areas, like you mentioned on Dayton Road, north of 38, might be good to have sidewalks. I think I argued that last year when we were doing the other streets, and I was told we didn't need sidewalks along there, but I do think we need them. So, so anyway, so everybody in town knows we're going to the oldest streets first and getting them taken care of. We could probably think about sidewalks and do a little more. One thing I think we need to get this answered is along South Street, we have areas just like was along Redbird Cafe where there's right-of-ways or parking right-of-ways, and are we going to include them in the businesses along South Street like we did at Redbird? I think we had a big argument about it then, and we want to keep this all fair and everybody have the equal shot on it, so one business doesn't get favoritism or things for them and the other ones don't. So I think everybody will look at South Street, and it looks to me like same scenario in the right of way. There's off-street parking, goes right up to the side of the business. So I think we ought to pave that along with it. So, and then down the line, there will be other businesses like on Market Street and stuff. There'll be the same situation. So,
Ron,
anyway,
I agree with you. Ron, I agree with you on doing, the lower number projects and stuff. My point is why we are doing these. If there's an opportunity to get sidewalks in there, and also stormwater drainage. I mean, the stormwater drainage at the corner of Dayton Road and Main Street is pretty bad. That stuff needs to get incorporated. To your point on businesses that have the on-street parking, yes, the part of that on-street parking that is on the town's property, probably should be, milled and repaved if it's currently paved. So that's all I got.
Okay.
So just to be clear, Ashley, you were not saying go in a different order of streets just to do sidewalks and sewers. You're saying go in this order, but look at the sidewalks and sewers on these streets that are in this order.
Yes.
Right?
And
okay. Yeah.
Yes, and I would not feel compelled to have all the streets rated at number 5 yet this year. Okay, if the money situation works where we could do that, then great, do it. If it doesn't, if you carry a couple number 4s over to next year, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, yeah, it's great if you can got enough money to do everything to all of them, to get them to 5. That's fantastic. But you only have opportunity for that 75% match
Yeah.
once. So capture it
Right.
while we can capture it,
Yeah.
even if it pushes another street, down another year down the road before it gets worked on.
Well, it sounds, Ashley,
So just,
it sounds like we just need to ask for more money, I guess. We've asked for what, up to 285,000 in the past or something? Is that right? Or,
Ron, I don't remember the number, but,
I-
Mark indicated as long as you stayed under $1 million, it doesn't sound like there's much issue. I don't know what the town can afford, but, and again, I don't know that you have to do everything this year. You may, push a couple of those number 4s off into next. I don't know.
Well, what I'm concerned about is with this pandemic and everything, they talked about maybe not even getting money as they close up things and taxes decline. And remember, a couple years ago, our clerk Alex didn't enter the thing, so we lost the entire road grant for that year. So we're trying to make up some, and I think we need to go for as much as we can this year. Why they're still dishing this money out. Nobody really knows what this future is going to hold. And luckily, we're getting some this year. So,
Well, I agree, Ron. But again, why you have the opportunity to get 75% matching grant, these roads, streets that need stormwater improvement and sidewalk improvement, we ought to get that in there.
yeah, we can look at them and talk them over and go out there and see.
Okay.
okay, so just so I understand, so in addition to the list that you have in front of me, preliminarily, we want to add the storm drains at the intersection of Main and Dayton Road, plus the sidewalk on the west side of Main Street from Main back to the Buck Creek Pizza. Is that correct?
I'd like to see you take a look at that. Yeah. And I would
Mark?
also like to.
I think you ought to, if you're going to do sidewalks on Dayton Road, why wouldn't you do them? There's one on the one side. Why wouldn't you do them on both sides? It's one of the more heavily trafficked roads going up to College Street to the school. I would think you'd want to do sidewalks on both sides.
Okay.
You know,
All right. I'm just wanting clarification.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
my point being that I'm going to meet with BFNS next week to just go through this list with them, and I just want to make sure that I show, because the reason I'm meeting with them is to get a more accurate cost estimate, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting a cost estimate on everything that you're talking about. I mean, so are you just saying the blanket, hey, let's sidewalks on every street that we're paving? I mean, if that's what you want, that's what I'll get a cost estimate on.
Well, that.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, folks, why don't all of us board members walk these areas and talk about it? It's a pretty nice week to get out and get a little bit of exercise and eyeballs out on the streets, look these areas over, I think would be beneficial to all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mark.
if you would do that, yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
go ahead. I was just going to say, if you can, go ahead and do that, and get me that list by the end of the day Friday. So whenever I meet with BFNS next week, I have a complete list of proposed projects. Can you do that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
For the cost
Okay.
estimate, will it be, like, will we be able to know, like, okay, sidewalks on both sides of Dayton Road would be this much, this street would be this much for sidewalks and sewer, or will it be like, this is just for streets, this price is for streets and sidewalks and sewers? Like, is it broken up?
No, it'll be broken. It'll be broken down for you.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
Okay. So the important thing is that I have that list by the end of the week, though. The reason I say that is that the application period's coming up in January, so we don't have that many more meetings before we have to be decided.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the State Road 38 project. So this is where NDOT's coming through and going from Conjunction Street out to Adams Road. At least that's our part of the project. There were three concerns with this project. One was they were originally requiring us to relocate our water main that crosses at Pennsylvania Street. They have, at this time, decided that that will not be necessary, that they'll just run their stormwater pipes underneath the water main. That's good. But the other two remaining conflicts, one is the fire hydrant at the corner of Delaware and State Road 38. They're saying that it needs to be moved. And the other conflict is we have 3 1-inch copper service lines going underneath State Road 38, and they feel those will need to be either raised or lowered during construction. So after they sent me the email stating that the 6-inch main at Pennsylvania will not need to be relocated, I emailed them back and said, hey, we would like for this hydrant relocation and these 1-inch service lines just to be part of your contract so that we wouldn't incur any cost. Well, they responded that they can make it part of the construction cost or the construction contract, but the town would have to pay for those items in the contract, and that there would be a fair amount of engineering work required on the part of the town. So before I respond to that, I guess I'd like to know your feelings on the town. So far we've incurred about $3,700 in engineering costs for State Road 38 project, which is far more than I would have liked for a project that's not ours. But things being how they are with government contracts, that's what. So we've got $3,700 out of our pockets already, and now they're saying, yeah, we can make it part of the contract, but you're still going to have to pay for these items, and you'll have no ability to question the cost once the contract is awarded, and you'll have to pay your portion of the contract up front before the work is done. So I guess whenever I read or see that, thing I think of is, well, I need to call my state representative and see if they can straighten this out, because I believe the town should incur any cost on a state highway project.
I think you're
Before
right.
Before I responded with my email, I thought, well, I better not get ahead of myself and let you guys guide me on what my reply should be.
Mark, when we did that widening of the highway through the first part of town, I don't remember any cost. I thought the state took care of everything.
I would assume that I just assumed that they did myself, not even knowing that, but I just thought, well, if they're a project, I'm going to pay for it. But apparently they're trying to get us to pay a portion of it. And I just don't think that's reasonable myself. But any other comments on it besides Ron's?
I mean, I would really like to avoid this cost, but I don't know all the rules with these contracts and stuff.
Well, Jen, I guess with the board's permission, I would like to respond to their most recent email saying we've incurred $3,700 in engineering costs that was unexpected, and feel that since the work is done within the state's right of way, that the state would therefore pay for the cost.
Yeah,
And then wait to see what their response is to that.
I think that's great.
Does that sound all right to everybody?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
All right. Next item under other is NDOT Yost Drive invoice. So back in October, everybody was sent a copy of the invoice that we got from, the copy of the invoice we got from NDOT for the repayment funds for the canceled Yost Drive project. That invoice is for $40,628.40. I guess before I wanted to tell Michelle to send a check out, I just wanted to I thought we better discuss it or take a vote or something before I send that out.
I make a motion that we reimburse NDOT for $40,000, $40,628.40.
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan. Before we take a vote, is there any further discussion? Okay, Stan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
No.
Okay, and I vote yes, so the motion passes 4-1.
The next item I have under other is TSC tree limbs. That is the Tippecanoe County School Corporation. We received an email from them requesting some tree limbs to be trimmed back on Conjunction Street in between Meadow Lane and Cagle Mill, where the limbs are hitting the school buses. So I sent letters to 3 homeowners last week in that area explaining the situation and asking them to trim back the tree limbs. So I'm just making you aware of that. The last item that I have that's not on here because I just found out about it today is that Truck Indiana, they've hired a contractor and they're moving forward with construction on that project. Their required pre-construction meeting is going to be this Thursday at 1 o'clock at the BF&S conference room downtown. That's at the corner of 3rd and South Street. So just making you aware of that.
Mark, on that pre-construction
Yeah.
conference and read so we don't get in any trouble like we have a couple of times now. I think only 2 of the board members can attend, right?
That is correct.
Okay, I would like to be one of them and probably Stan on Roads and Streets, the second one.
Yeah, I'll go with you, Ron.
Okay, sounds good. So we all got that clear that only two of us are going. That's all.
Okay, any questions about anything else on my report?
I have nothing.
If not, I think that'll be it. Okay,
Mark?
thank you. Yeah,
When, this is Ashley, what day would we get together to walk these streets and stuff on Mark's list for the community crossroad grant? Is tomorrow a good day?
Oh,
Are we all allowed to walk them together, to look at them without a decision being made?
Yes.
Yes, as long as you don't discuss town business.
Okay, we'll just walk and stare at the street then, I guess, so.
We can bounce ideas off of each other and make comments.
Yeah, as long as we don't make a decision, so.
You just can't make decisions.
Any day's fine with me.
I'll be unable to attend.
what time tomorrow were you guys thinking?
I don't, 10 noon time, 2 o'clock, something like that's fine with me.
Okay. If it's after 1 o'clock, I can make it. I mean, you guys are welcome to go without me, but.
That sounds
Let's say
good.
that-
Early afternoon.
Let's go for 1 o'clock tomorrow, meet at town hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should be able to make it. I have a 10 o'clock dentist appointment.
And
Hey,
Carla,
we don't have any cavities.
Carla, when you get off, I'll drive you around. I'll show you what we looked at.
Okay.
Are there any other comments from the council? Ashley, did you have anything else?
That's all I have on utilities.
Okay, Carla, do you have anything?
I don't.
Ron?
No.
Dan?
Nope.
Okay, and I have no further comments, so this meeting stands adjourned.
All right. This is Town Board Council meeting. This is November the 9th meeting for the Dayton Town Council, and Jen has already made the opening statement, did the roll call. All the council members, our clerk, town manager, town marshal, I think, and attorney are still on the line, so we will proceed. We'll go to the town attorney first and read, can you explain, we have to pass the Uzo amendment.
Yes, thanks, Ron. So the Area Plan Commission has voted 16 yes, 0 to no on the motion to improve the amendment number 98. This amendment would change sections 1, 2, 3, and 7 and add a new section 7-3. Section 1 has a series of definitions that would be added, including urban agriculture, urban pilot manufacturing, microproduction of alcoholic beverages, specialty food production, definition of monument sign, and gateway sign. Section 2 amends the use tables regarding microproduction of alcoholic beverages, specialty food production, urban agriculture, urban pilot manufacturing, hospital, multifamily dwelling, and also changes several footnotes in the use table. Section 4 modifies section 7-2-3 to delete references to community gardens and changes, that's the only change to 7-2-3 uses in the development sectors. Section 5 will add UZO section 7-3 Discovery Park District form-based overlay. The purpose of the Discovery Park District Park form-based overlay is to ensure that future development and redevelopment in the district is done in accordance with the policies of the US 231 Corridor Plan that was adopted in 2018 and the Comprehensive Plan of Tippecanoe County. So that's the Discovery Park District in West Lafayette by Purdue University.
Okay, thank you.
So you need a motion to adopt the ordinance which amends the UZO. This is amendment number 98.
Does anybody want to make that motion?
I would so move.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Carl, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
What's that?
I thought you were talking. I make a motion to adopt UZO Amendment number 98, Discovery Park District Overlay. Is that what we need first?
Yes. I second it.
Okay, we have a motion to amend UZO amendment to amend ordinance number 98. It was a motion by Jen and seconded by Carla. Do we have any more discussion on it? If not, then we'll take a roll call vote. Jen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carla, how do you vote? Carla, how do you vote?
Sorry, I hit my mute button. Yes.
Okay, Stan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ashley, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Ron, I vote yes, so it passes 5-0. Okay, the next thing is for the salary ordinance, we want to adopt the most recent versions of the 2020 ordinances for 2021, with the exception of changes to the attorney's fees. Reed, if you could go ahead and explain these changes, please.
Sure. Yeah, so remember, we now have two salary ordinances. So one for compensation for non-elected employees. That's where we will have some changes. And then the other ordinance is for elected official, where there will be no changes. And I started in January of 2019 and have tracked all of my hours and sent a usage report to the town council. So I'll just go through that. So in 2019, January, I had 38.1 hours, February 10.2, March 16.65, April 10 hours, May 13.4, June 6.6, July 6.75, August 14.25, September 3.8, October 17.03, November 13.5, and December 15.15. So total hours worked in 2019 was 165.43. So far,
you said it was 155 or 165 read?
165.43.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So far this year, January of 2020 was 20 hours, February 10.8, March 25, April 15.15, May 25 hours, June 24, July 16.8, August 16, September 34, October 16.2. So total year-to-date hours worked 202.95. Last year, I credited 30 hours of paralegal time, which was almost all my time, attorney hours that I just billed as paralegal hours to get to the 30 hours. And then this year, there are 15.3 year-to-date paralegal hours worked, 14.7 remaining, and it's the same situation where almost all of these are actually just my attorney time that's just been billed as paralegal time. And I made it clear to the town council last year that if we stuck with this plan, that I wouldn't credit those hours. I would not have any obligation to credit those hours, even though I have done so. So what I would like to do from this point going forward is just to change to hourly billing. The other thing that's changed this year is I have Kayla, who bills at a lower rate than I do. So if we switch to hourly, the town would get that immediate benefit of having her hours worked billed at $190 an hour instead of $200. If I stayed on the annual plan, her hours would count towards those 50, just like mine, and so you wouldn't get the benefit of her lower rate until we were past those 50 included attorney hours and billing at $190 an hour. I was asked before I started to come up with 3 different options for how to structure it. I now know more after 2 years about how many hours of attorney time and paralegal time are needed, and so I believe that it's in the best interest of the town to not continue with the annual plan, so that there are no unused paralegal hours. So the salary ordinance would still have $25,000 appropriated for the attorney budget for 2021, and the contract would just be hourly with same hourly rate, $200 an hour. Caleb is billed at $190 an hour, and then paralegal time is billed at $115 an hour. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, that sounds good. Earlier, everybody, the council has this salary ordinance that Reed sent us, but we don't have to okay it tonight, I guess, because it needs the dates switched on the holidays, Reed was saying. So basically, other than that, we could okay that in 2 weeks, I guess. But everything else is the same. Maybe everybody ought to look at it since we got it today, and we could okay that at our work session in 2 weeks also. But basically, everything's the same. I don't think there's any increase in raises. Reed would go to a flat hourly rate instead of this crediting hours and all this other goofy stuff, and it'd make everything a lot simpler. So does anybody want to add anything to it, or just think about it, or anybody got any comments?
I'm on board with going hourly with Reed.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So we can all think a little bit, and then we'll get the new the actual holidays written in there, so that when we make a motion and approve it at the next meeting, it'll be ready to go. So is that okay with everybody?
Like
Yep.
at the meeting in a couple weeks, or?
Yeah, at the meeting in a couple weeks. So
Yeah, that's good.
Ron,
yeah.
are we having any raises for employees in this new salary ordinance?
No, because we're losing money in our utilities. We don't know where we're standing. We're doing a lot of rate studies. Last year, everybody got some pretty hefty raises. So this board, I think it's behooves us to look over everything and not just, we don't even know where our town stands as of right now until we start getting some of these reports back from Steve Brock. And that's the first main thing, to see what we're doing, and we'll go from there.
We did get a report back from the the lady that helped Michelle with the budget last month, and it was paid this town a lot of fiduciary responsibilities and also on our budget. And I know our new budget that had included some raises for employees. That's the reason I asked.
Okay, well, anybody want to comment? I'll make a comment. I'm not for any new raises till we get everything under control and look at everything. And,
I agree with that.
I agree.
okay. We basically got it written up. We'll make a few minor changes, and then in a couple weeks at our work session, we'll put that on the agenda and we'll okay it at that time or not okay at that time. All right, moving on the agenda here, we got Jen, you got a resolution or something?
Yep, I think this is resolution 2020-13. Last month we voted to engage Libby Roberts to address a number of our concerns of impropriety, ordinance violations, and illegalities. Our first action will be this resolution of censure. I'd like to read and vote on the following resolution. Resolution 2020-13. A resolution.
Hey, can I interrupt for a minute?
I'd like to read this actually.
Excuse me.
Has this been sent to us?
A resolution of the Dayton Town Council censuring Michelle Freeward, Dayton Clerk Treasurer. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has breached the trust and confidence of the council by improperly creating secret recordings of conversations. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has improperly exceeded the scope of her authority and duties by excessively interfering in the area of compensation and benefits of personnel. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has improperly exceeded the scope of her authority and duties by excessively challenging the council on setting and changing meeting dates, obtaining quotes on security systems, obtaining quotes on insurance, and numerous other issues outside her purview. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, impedes the council's efforts at their state-mandated internal control oversight responsibilities by limiting, resisting, or denying access to documents the council is tasked with reviewing, and at this time violates the internal control ordinance of the Town of Dayton by refusing to share claims and other documents electronically. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, does regularly and routinely at public meetings, on social media, and in private email, bully, belittle, and harass members of the council with attempts to debase and ridicule their looks, abilities, and actions. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has deliberately impeded the Town Council's effective management of the town with public complaints about requests from the council, and at one point insisting on the use of her public document request form. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, created a false scenario regarding the placement of the clerk's table for meetings and presented it as facts on local social media and in a statewide town email group in order to falsely accuse and discredit council members, and inappropriately tried to justify her claim at a monthly council meeting. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, denied access to the town's security consultant in order to prevent the evidence of her own actions, creating the false table scenario, and of her placing a Burger King crown strategically on the council table from being revealed. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has created a hostile environment and contentious adversarial relationship with the council by her behavior in refusing to accept and follow the legal advice of the town's attorney and forcing the unprecedented payment of town funds for an attorney for the clerk treasurer. And whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has exceeded the scope of her authority by contracting with an insurance company for group life insurance without council approval and in paying the benefit electronically in violation of the town ordinance. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has exceeded the scope of her authority by paying benefits not authorized by the council, the salary ordinance, or the employee handbook. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, violates Indiana law by paying claims prior to council approval. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has removed from Facebook the Town of Dayton, Indiana official page, which included public documents, in spite of being instructed not to remove it by the council and our attorney. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, attempted to bribe the council with a promise to provide all necessary claims and other documents if they would not install the supplemental security system, Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, posted a budget for 2021 prior to council input and approval, and a budget meeting notice without the knowledge of the council. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has refused to provide the Utility Service Board with account information of Dayton utility customers, and claims she has made payment arrangements not allowed by ordinance without the consent of the Utility Service Board. Whereas Michelle Freeward, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton, has violated the agenda ordinance of the Town of Dayton by creating and sharing meeting agendas without direction from the Town Council. Therefore, it is incumbent on the Town Council of the Town of Dayton to officially provide this public censure of Michelle Freeward, the Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Dayton. Resolved this 9th day of November, 2020.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Reed,
I make a motion to adopt this resolution of censure and make it part of the permanent record of the Town of Dayton.
I second that motion. We have a motion by Jen for the censorship, and we have Michelle Freeward and a second by Ron. We'll open it up for discussion before a roll call vote.
this is Ashley. I'd like Reed Murtaugh to answer. You know, this is something that was not on our agenda. It's not in anybody's board packet, or at least not in my board packet. We did not receive any emails on this. You know, I find it inappropriate to expect people to vote on something that they have not reviewed and that is not on the agenda. Your comment, Reed?
This is not a resolution or an ordinance that's, you know, enacting laws. This is simply a public reprimand, and it's whatever the council can decide to use that action if they want to. I mean, the effect of it, you know, I mean, there's no issues with how it's presented as far as procedurally, because it's simply a public reprimand. It has the effect of a public comment, essentially.
And Ashley, we were at our executive session. We decided and voted on to make Jen and a liaison on with Libby and everything, and she's proceeding with that.
I'm sorry, Ron. We did not vote on anything in an executive
Okay,
meeting.
we talked about it.
Correct.
That is illegal. Jen introduced this as ordinance number 2020-3, Reed.
Resolution.
You know, I've not seen it. You know, this is totally inappropriate to vote on something without sharing it with all the council members 48 hours before a meeting. You know, this vote should be moved to a second meeting somewhere down the road, and all board members need to see a copy of the resolution well before the meeting takes place.
Okay.
Okay.
Just for the record, I did have the resolution on the agenda. It did have resolution, so it was not left off the agenda.
But we're voting on something that no one's, well, at least not me. I've seen it. You know, it was not provided to myself and maybe other board members before a meeting. You know, where's this transparency that you all ran about? You know, openness, fairness, transparency, and you're not going to give board members stuff, before a board meeting. I mean, give me a break.
Ashley, why don't we'll have a meeting in 2 weeks. Jen can give you a copy and you can look it over, but I still think, Reed, if we can, we ought to vote now. And
well, what good does it do now for you to vote and then give me a copy 2 weeks from now? Give me a break, Ron.
okay, Ashley, we can wait 2 weeks and vote on it then.
Well, yes, you wait to vote on it, and you also distribute it to all the board members well before a meeting. You know Indiana law.
I think that Reed just said it has nothing to do with the law, and we can vote on it if we'd like to.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor and a second to vote on this. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Jen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carla, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ashley, how do you vote?
No.
And Ron,
You all,
I vote yes, and so it passes 4-0.
you complain about things getting submitted to a public access counselor, and this is the exact reason why.
This is a different kind of thing, actually. It's a reprimand, so it's got a different set of laws by it. But if you want to, we voted on it tonight, we could also in 2 weeks, I presume, vote on it again if you want to. All right.
It's not in the board packet. If we're voting on things, it needs to be in a board packet.
Moving on here, we'll get you a copy for the next meeting, Ashley. Okay, as Jan explained earlier, we can't approve any claims. Moving on the agenda here, we can't approve any fund report without the corresponding bank recs, so we'll go straight to the allowance docket. I make a motion to approve the allowance docket dated 10/1 to 10/31/2020.
I second that.
Okay, we got a motion to approve the allowance docket and a second by Jan. We'll take a roll call vote. Any discussion first? If not, we'll take a roll call vote. Jen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Ron, I vote yes, so it passes 5-0. Okay, we also can approve the revenue and appropriations report. Michelle, if you're finally finished updating the bank recs, could you please get us the monthly closed check registers, the appropriation, revenue, and fund reports, and the bank recs for each month all together? We need all these reports for each month together in order to approve any. We need to get them and get them approved as soon as possible. We've made it clear that we won't be approving anything not on the claims docket. So basically, we're done here except for council comments. And I'm not sure, I think I passed, but if Scott Marshall Taylor has anything, I'm not sure if he's on the line or not. Scott, are you here?
I still have a report, Ron, and I told you that I don't have additional claims, but I still have stuff that I need to address the board with.
Michelle, I'm asking about Scott, and then you're next. So if Scott's not here,
Well,
Michelle,
actually, I'm before Scott, but that's okay.
Michelle, Scott is not here, right?
He is.
I am here.
Okay, Scott, do you have any report? Anything you'd like to say?
No, sir.
Okay. Michelle, our town clerk, would you like to say anything?
Yes, I have a report and things that I need to address the council with.
Good.
Why it's on the agenda.
Good, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. So on November 18th of last year, when I brought up some things to the board, one of the things that I discussed with the board is where if a holiday falls on a pay Friday, I had talked to State Board of Accounts. I brought it up to you guys, or the board last year, excuse me. Ashley and Ron were the only ones last year. And I asked the board if they would allow me to, it would be the discretion of the clerk treasurer to do the payday before the last working day of the week if it falls on, if the payday falls on a Friday. So the motion was made, Ron seconded in that motion and carried a vote 5-0. So I'm just asking the board again to make sure that we are all on the same page and everybody is okay with it. The second pay for this month lands on the day after Thanksgiving. Year the board allowed me to make payroll active on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Payroll, anything that is paid on payroll is for previous work, 2 weeks prior. So we are not paying it in ahead or advance of anything or of any work. It's just the council is allowing me to pay the last working day of the week. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was still okay, since the payroll that's supposed to be on the 27th is the day after Thanksgiving, and if you guys are okay with me processing it on the 25th.
I'm okay with that.
I think that's fine.
It's fine with me.
It's okay with me.
Ashley?
Reed, do we need to make a motion so we're all on the same page, or is it fine because it's on the record?
I would make a motion.
Can you say those dates again, Michelle? And I'll make the motion.
So I need you guys to approve the November 27th pay being paid on November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay, I make a motion to allow Michelle to pay payroll from November 27th instead of November 25th.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion to pay the pay on the 25th instead of 27th, and it's by Jen and it's seconded by Stan. Is there any discussion about it? And Reed, this is perfectly okay to do, right?
Yes.
Okay. We have the approval of our town attorney, so we'll take a roll call vote. Jen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carla, how do you vote?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Ron, I vote yes, so that motion passes 5-0. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna add something, but go ahead.
So the only other thing that one, Ron and I talked the other day on the phone for an hour and a half. We had this discussion. So since you guys are waiting a couple weeks to do the minutes, this will give you an opportunity to do it. So yes, I did just finish getting you guys the last 17 minutes. We have had 32 meetings this year, not including what we have now going forward. They all were extremely lengthy. The minutes that you guys keep referring to that I just turned into you for January and February or whatever it was, those were actually presented to the board in March, but the board did not approve them. So they were put in with these be reapproved, or actually it was in the last set. So that part is a false statement. So as I discussed with Ron, the minutes that you guys have, because per Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-4, the agenda or the minutes is just a memorando. So it is not supposed to be, and I know for over a year I did it, he said, she said, and put the arguing in back and forth, but obviously those are very time consuming and cause it to be lengthy. So I've talked to my attorney regarding it so that I don't have to be delayed in doing the minutes anymore. So that Indiana code says that the minutes just need to have the date, time, place of meeting, the members of the governing body being recorded as either present or absent, the general substance of all matters proposed, discussed, and decided, and a record of all votes taken by individual members if there is a roll call. So as you can see, the minutes that I have presented to you guys have all of that. Now, if you guys want to add in a description or a conversation and be more detailed, if you can type those separately for each minute that you want to add that to, and then before you guys come in to sign them, you guys will approve to add those attachments. So in the minutes, it will say, see attachment, and then we can number how many ever there are. So that's how we will be adding any additions that you guys want to do, because my minutes are done how Indiana Code says that they need to be done. But you guys can add attachments. So if Ron wants to add that so-and-so said something, or he said something, or if Jen wants to add something, or Stan or Ashley or anybody, we can add as many attachments to these minutes as you want. and they will be logged that way and signed that way. So just to give you guys a heads up to work on
Okay.
those.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Can I add something to that? We did
Yes.
talk about this on our conversation, and because every clerk does the minutes differently. I did them word for word verbatim, so there would be no mistake. But every council member has the right to add on and change those minutes and add dialogue that was actually said, whether through an addendum like Michelle said, or I think we need to ask Reed, because I don't quite, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't quite agree with Michelle's, her a lawyer. I think I think they need to somehow, we need to submit them. They're entered into the minutes and then we okayed them so that there's not a separate sheet that can be ripped off or misplaced later on. So I don't know, Reed, you'll have to look at that and let us know on how they exactly do them so that nothing can be lost in the future.
Well, I was just reading what Indiana code says. My
Yeah,
attorney just sent it me. That's all I was
yeah.
reading.
Well,
And
I
on
don't,
the minutes
yeah.
themselves, it will say, see attachment A, B, C, E, F, whatever, all the way through the alphabet. So it will show on the minutes themselves that there is attachments, and then they would be numbered or put by a letter.
Okay, all I'm saying is that's one opinion. I would like to have Reed research it and tell us maybe there's a better way or a way that it should be done, and he can let us know. So in the next week, email us all so that we can all make our changes and get that corrected. And, the council also has to approve the attachments if there are attachments. We need to be sure they're attachments, the add-ons, whatever, are okayed by the board, voted on, and they don't get lost. So Reed can check into that and get back to us on that. So in our
Okay,
And that's
will
fine.
do.
So
yeah, okay,
go ahead, Reed.
I just said, okay, I will do that.
okay, thank you.
Okay. And then the only other things that I had, because I was not going to interrupt, I was just going to wait for my time to talk. So regarding Jen's statement about the copies and the reports and all of that, you guys have received all of the reports. I did make you guys all either copies, hard copies, or sent digitally for 4 months. Yes, I did against my better judgment because you guys argue about coming in when I'm in here. So I very nicely put them on the back table for you guys to come in. So that's no different. So I'm assuming now you're saying you want the packet 5 days before the meeting, which then, that's a whole nother scenario. So if you want me to put out the APVs 5 days before a meeting or the beginning of the week before the meeting, then I will do that. And like I said, I left them out there. So I left them out there all weekend. The minutes, I've sent you guys all of these minutes on Monday. You got very few, like last couple days of the week. So you got the vast majority of them. So I just wanted to put that on the record. So everything that is being sprung about me isn't true. The next thing is I've already been contacted by some family members regarding the gift giving tree that I started last year. So I am in the process of getting that those paperwork and those dates up again. So I will be posting and giving to the school the forms for the gift giving tree that the clerk treasurer's office does for the town. So I will get that posted with the dates of when applications or people that want to be on it, or if people want to submit somebody's name, where they can get those forms and get turned into me. And then the last thing, well, Jen, do you know when you're going to call the meeting, the work session, or do you just know in a couple of weeks?
I'm hoping for in 2 Mondays, but I don't, does that work for everybody?
So the 23rd?
Seems like our work sessions ought to be in between the two regular town board meetings so that we can everybody can sort of plan if we do need a work session. They won't be on an odd day here and there and whatever. It'll be a little more easy to plan it. So,
Yeah, Michelle, I would
Yeah, I would
just.
just,
so
okay,
that's
I just know my attorney's gonna be on that work session, so if you just, as soon as you can let me know so I can give him a heads up.
Is the 23rd okay with everybody?
Fine with me.
Yep.
And what are you thinking, at like 6 o'clock?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Ashley, Reed,
This
Carla.
is Reed. That works for me.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so November 23rd at 6 p.m.
All right.
And then just the last thing that I have, regarding the resolution, because Ron told me to put the resolution on the utility side. I think that's probably why we were a little confused why it was being brought up on the regular side. But I just wanted to say bravo, because some of those things that you said against me are absolutely ridiculous and to do with my job or my elected duties, and I've got plenty of proof to go against what you just said. So I don't know what you guys plan on accomplishing, but I'm pretty sure I can prove that I've tried to work with you guys a lot more than you have with me, and I've provided you guys with all of these things. So I just say bravo, well done, but I don't know what you plan on accomplishing with it.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. As far as working together, so everybody knows, Michelle and I did talk the other day. I called her up and asked her very nicely to email us these records so we could get away from this dire situation of meeting up there and being able to snap at each other and being recorded, videotaped, and whatever. And Michelle, we ended up, she was nice enough to put the records back there, but that went against our ordinance. We can request them how we want according to our ordinance. And Michelle, we had a big argument. You ended up slamming the phone down on my ear, and I was the one that every time that happens, I try to be nice and make some kind of a compromise. So I think I also have plenty of proof that the story is a little different. And, you know, on this censure, just one more thing about it. We were told by lawyers that you do every month, you do a censure of violations of ordinances or laws, and that's what we're planning on doing, so it's a public record. You're welcome to argue with them, whatever, but that's what you do when the council does not agree. And a lot of things goes behind the scenes here, people, that Michelle doesn't say and that nobody really knows about. So,
So do I get to create a resolution for all of the town ordinances that the council members break?
yeah,
Or
just
because
that's
I'm
right.
not a fiscal body, I can't do it?
Well, here's my answer. You don't need to, because you're on every Facebook post in America slamming us. So anyway,
I'm
anybody else?
just posting the facts.
Yeah, right. Well, you put it out there. So any other, so
Well, I guess
we go
we'll
with the
just handle
medium
it in court, I guess.
basically. So does any of the council members, time for council comments now? Would anybody like to speak?
Order something.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Carla, Ashley?
I don't.
Okay, I've got something. One thing I would like to ask is, Michelle, on the claims that we did not okay, Baker Farms inspection by BF&S was $4,140, and Truck Country inspection by BF&S was $4,320. How often have you billed these entities? Have you billed Malacus for the one and the Truck Country for the other, or how soon after do you bill them?
Every couple months, and I've already told you that.
I don't need a
I
smart
told you
answer.
that on numerous occasions.
I'm
not giving you a smart answer. I mean,
think,
better than a stupid answer.
Michelle, I think we need to, I have not been told that before, but I think we need to bill them as soon as possible to get in the money. So, and I think the board, I would like a list of, for the year, what we have billed Greg Malacus, even though you gave us a partial one earlier. I think there's things missing on there that he still owes us for, and we need to bring that up to date. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. Couple other things about the subdivision down here. Malacus called me the other day, and so that everybody's on board and there's no misunderstanding about this, he called me and wanted me to sign off and okay 3 to 5 foundations requests so they could go ahead and build some foundations. And I said, that's fine, but we're not going to take over that subdivision until spring because there's too many things that need to be done and everything. And he said, and I said, and I am not going to sign anything for that subdivision without board and council and lawyer approval. So don't be asking me. He's real nice and we had a good talk and everything. So anyway, I told him to go down the area plan and talk to Sally Fay. He said, no, you don't go down there to get permits. You go out to Dayton. And I said, no, you don't. And he argued with me. I said, well, go down there. He called me back, said, you're right, Ron. You do go down there. Everybody goes down there. And he said that they allowed, the exemption was before they plot it and we take it over, they're allowed one foundation. So I said, good. That's a shame you can't do more, but it is not our decision. It's not his decision. It's the rules of area plan. So just want to put that out there so nobody comes and hears something different from Malacus. I think the last thing I got is another thing on Greg Malacus. He called me up a couple weeks ago and he wants to purchase some nursery stock from us, some big trees to plant along Dayton Road. And he wanted to know a price on them. I actually priced them less than half price, but before anything's done, I just want to be sure the board and the town and everybody knows, and if there's any thoughts on that they don't want this, that these builders and these homeowners are going to be coming to us because we're right down the road and asking us for to sell them products. So I want to be sure there's no underhand behind the scenes stuff. And Malacus asks us to sell him these trees and plant them for him. Does anybody have any problem with that?
Are they for Baker Farms?
For Baker's Farm, yeah. Well, these are from the church on down. For the church starting with, so.
I think that's great.
Okay. Ashley, you got any problem with that?
No, I don't have any problem.
Okay, it'll save your friend a bunch of money doing it that way too. Okay, well, anyway, so,
I have one more thing, Ron.
yeah, go ahead.
You asked for the documentation, what Malacus has been billed.
Yes.
You might be asked this too. Can we see the documentation that what they've been billed and then what they've paid, and also truck country as well?
Yeah, that would be nice. I would also, I've asked Jen and I think she's requested it. I just remembered this. I would like to have a listing of the people that we are, and I think the utility board is legally can ask for this, and it's been asked in the past, and it's always been given the utility board. I'd like a list of all the overdue accounts and how the payment plans are made up and how they're paying it off, so we can be sure there's no favoritism, everything is above board, and that everybody's getting the same square deal. Because I've heard several things out there, and I just want to, I think we all need to know that because it affects the town, affects the finances, and it makes everything, we need to have it everybody equal. So Michelle, if you could get that for us, I'd appreciate it. Okay, I guess nobody else had any comments, so with no other business, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.